It's 11:42 at night, and I'm scrolling through my phone for the fourth time tonight, hoping the algorithm will finally show me something that isn't the same dopamine detox video I've already watched 3 times. The numbers on the screen blur together. 47 minutes of screen time today, which is actually better than yesterday, but I don't feel any different. I keep waiting for the moment when I'll snap my phone shut and feel free, but it never comes. For the last 2 or 3 years, every influencer and self-help account has been pushing the same idea. Social media detox, dopamine detox, take a break from your phone, it'll be good for your mental health. I bought into it completely. I blocked apps, deleted accounts, set timers. I told myself I was doing the hard work of healing my brain, but honestly, I think I was just fooling myself into feeling productive. Turns out those detoxes don't actually do anything lasting for your mental health. The studies are starting to show it, and my own experience confirms it. I'd quit for a weekend, feel briefly virtuous, then Monday would hit and I'd be right back on Instagram, feeling worse than before because now I'd failed at yet another self-improvement project. The guilt was heavier than the addiction. I once spent a short rotation in addiction psychiatry during training. It was only a few months, but one blunt lesson stuck with me. The attending psychiatrist said it plainly. If you take a 2-week break from heroin and then start using heroin again every day, you haven't done anything for your mental health. You've just taken a vacation from your addiction. That's the part nobody says out loud. Quitting heroin for 2 weeks and then resuming daily use doesn't help anyone long term. The detox itself becomes just another performance, a way to feel good about yourself without actually changing anything. I think that's what I was doing with my phone. I was performing health while my habits stayed exactly the same. Brains build tolerance to any repeated substance or behavior. It's basic neuroscience. When you drink coffee every morning, the first cup wires you, but over time you need more just to feel normal. Without it, you get cranky. That's withdrawal. The same thing happens with social media. The first scroll feels good, but eventually you need more and more just to feel baseline. Think about coffee for a second. The first cup of coffee I ever had kept me wired for hours. Now, I drink one just to stop the headache. The reward has flipped. It went from pleasure to avoidance. That's exactly what happened with my phone. I don't scroll because I enjoy it anymore. I scroll because the silence feels unbearable without it. Detox weekends feel good briefly, I'll admit that. I'd go camping for a weekend without service, and the first day would feel peaceful, but by the second day, I'd start feeling restless. My hand would twitch for my pocket. I'd feel anxious without knowing why. That's withdrawal. The comfort I thought I was missing was actually just the absence of withdrawal symptoms. Influencers missed the whole point of what detox actually means in psychiatry. They turned it into a wellness trend without understanding the mechanism. It's not about taking a break, it's about rebuilding your relationship with the thing. But that's hard to sell in a 30-second video. Easier to say just take a break and collect the views. Real detox should build lasting habits, not send you back to old patterns. If you detox and then resume exactly what you were doing, you're just running in place. I learned that the hard way. I'd spend a week off social media, feel proud, then binge for 3 days to catch up. The cycle was worse than just using moderately every day. Alcohol detox in a hospital uses IV medication like Ativan or lorazepam over 4 or 5 days. The goal isn't comfort, it's preventing seizures and death. That's how serious withdrawal can be. And even then, the detox is just the first step. The real work comes after, when you have to learn to live without the substance. Real detox heals withdrawal so you can start fresh. But if you go back to the same habits, you reset everything to zero. I've done that a dozen times. I'd quit social media for a month, feel clean, then slowly creep back. Within 2 weeks, I was right back to 4 hours a day. The detox didn't change anything because I didn't change anything. Removing social media's comfort actually spikes negative emotional affect immediately. The studies show it. When you take away the soothing balm of your phone, your brain goes into withdrawal. You feel worse before you feel better. And if you don't push through that phase, you just associate quitting with pain, which makes you want to go back even more. I have to admit, I made my own dopamine detox video once. Everyone was making them, and I thought I should too. I even believed what I was saying. But looking back, I was just repeating the trend without understanding the science. I was part of the problem. I told people to quit dopamine without explaining that dopamine isn't something you can quit. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that exists in your brain. Period. You cannot detox off it. It's like saying you're going to detox off cortisol. You can lower your cortisol levels, sure, but you can't eliminate it. Dopamine is essential for movement, motivation, and pleasure. The goal isn't to get rid of it. The goal is to regulate how it's triggered. Social media hours correlate with rising rates of body dysmorphia. The research is still evolving, but the pattern is clear. The more you scroll through curated images of other people's lives, the more your own reflection starts to look wrong. I've felt it myself. After an hour on Instagram, I hate my face. That's not a coincidence. More daily usage worsens mood, self-image, and personal self-worth. I track my mood sometimes, and the correlation is undeniable. Days I spend less than an hour on social media, I feel okay. Days I hit 3 hours, I feel like a failure. The app doesn't just waste time, it actively makes me feel worse about myself. These are dose-dependent responses. Heavier use means worse outcomes. It's not complicated. If you use social media 10 hours a day, you'll feel worse than if you use it 2 hours a day. The dose matters. But the addicted brain doesn't want to hear that. It wants the quick fix, the scroll, the hit. It doesn't care about the long-term cost. The addicted brain loves short breaks without real lasting change. It's the perfect compromise. You get to feel good about yourself for taking a break, but you don't have to actually change anything. I've done it 100 times. I'd announce my social media break, feel virtuous for a week, then quietly return. The addiction stayed, but my ego got a boost. Rehab patients admit this openly. They love Detox. They say, yeah, I'm going to rehab for 2 weeks, reconnect with myself, it'll be great. But they have no intention of making long-term changes. They just want the pat on the back. Then they go back to drinking. The detox becomes a performance of health, not actual health. Feeling good after a short detox becomes a false sense of progress. You think you're healing, but you're just taking a vacation from your addiction. I fell for it so many times. I'd think, look at me, I went a whole weekend without my phone. But Monday morning, I'd be back on it for 4 hours. The detox was a ritual, not a cure. Real balance needs actual neuroscience, not simplified dopamine slogans. It's not about quitting, it's about understanding why you're drawn to the thing in the first place. What need is it meeting? For me, it was escape from boredom and anxiety. Until I addressed those, no detox in the world would help. Quick aside, working with a coach can help with this kind of thing. When people hear about coaching, they usually say, why would I pay someone when I can watch YouTube videos for free? But coaching is about amplifying your effort. It's about having someone who sees your patterns and helps you break them. It's not a magic fix, but it's better than doing it alone. Social media and video games have quietly become the same thing. Have you noticed? The more social media evolves, the more it looks like a game. The more games evolve, the more social they become. They're converging into the same experience. My phone isn't a phone anymore. It's a slot machine that also lets me talk to people. Both now include friends lists, trophies, achievements, and guilds. Instagram has streaks, Snapchat has scores, even LinkedIn gamifies your profile completeness. Everything is designed to keep you engaged, to give you little hits of reward. It's not accidental, it's engineered, and I'm the product. A divisive rallying tweet works exactly like an in-game SOS flare. You send out a signal, and your allies come running. It's the same mechanic. In Monster Hunter, you fire an SOS flare, and other players join your fight. On social media, you post something inflammatory, and your tribe rallies. Same dopamine, different context. Technology hijacks brain circuits that originally evolved for survival. Our brains reward us for things that helped our ancestors survive: finding food, building community, achieving status. But now, a like on a post triggers the same circuit as finding a berry bush. The brain can't tell the difference, it just knows it feels good. Calorie-dense food is the classic example. When our ancestors found sugar and fat together, it was a survival signal. Store fat, survive famine. That's why a donut feels so good. It's not a moral failing. It's an ancient brain responding to an ancient cue. But now, that cue is everywhere, all the time, and our brains can't adapt fast enough. Imagine two ancient humans. One eats tubers from the ground, low calories, lean. When famine hits, they die. The other finds a Twinkie tree, pure sugar and fat. They store fat, survive the winter. That's why we crave junk food. Our brains evolved to reward the calorie-dense choice. But now, the Twinkie tree is every gas station, and our survival instinct is killing us. Exploiters found easy shortcuts into these ancient survival reward circuits. They figured out what triggers dopamine and built apps around it. Infinite scroll, variable rewards, notifications. They're not evil. They're just good at understanding human psychology. And I'm the one who falls for it. Every time, even knowing how it works. Humans instinctively respect difficulty. If something is hard to do, we value it more. That's why getting into Harvard or climbing a mountain feels meaningful. The effort signals to our brain that this achievement matters. Video game designers know this. They make games hard on purpose, because if it's too easy, there's no dopamine release. Too easy games release no dopamine, so bored players quit fast. That's why game difficulty curves exist. They want you to struggle just enough to make victory feel earned, but not so much that you give up. It's a delicate balance. And social media does the same thing. The algorithm shows you just enough interesting content to keep you scrolling, but not so much that you feel satisfied. Beating a hard game activates the same brain region as achieving something prestigious in real life, the same dopamine, the same sense of accomplishment. Your brain doesn't know the difference between beating Dark Souls and graduating from Harvard. It just knows you overcame a challenge, and that feels good. Games offer agency and control that ordinary daily life denies people. I can't control whether I have a job tomorrow. I can't control what my boss thinks of me. But in a game, I control everything. I decide where to go, what to build, when to fight. That feeling of control is addictive because real life gives us so little of it. Building freely in a game beats cleaning up a pillow fort. My kids build a pillow fort, and then I make them take it down. But in Minecraft, they can build forever. The structure stays, it grows. That's deeply satisfying. Creation without destruction. No wonder they prefer it. I prefer it too. Human brains are wired to reward creating and building things. We reward people who write books, build buildings, compose music. Creation is a survival signal. It shows competence. Games tap into that by letting us create without real-world consequences. I've spent hours building things in games that I'd never attempt in real life. Extra likes reset your baseline, demanding even more validation next time. If I usually get 50 likes and then get 75, my brain registers that as progress. But then 75 becomes the new normal. Now I need 100 to feel good. It's an escalator that only goes up, and I keep riding it, hoping the top exists. Tiger parenting instills achievement hunger that games easily satisfy instead. Parents who push their kids to be more, do more, achieve more, they're wiring their kids' brains to crave accomplishment. But when real life doesn't deliver that validation fast enough, games step in. They say, "Good job, you logged in for 365 days in a row," and the kid feels seen. Kids starved of praise become especially vulnerable to gaming rewards. If your parents were never satisfied, your brain is starving for that good job signal. Games provide it constantly. Every level up, every achievement, every daily login. It's a flood of validation that real life never gave you. No wonder you can't put the controller down. Login streaks and daily rewards deliver constant artificial validation. They're designed to create a habit loop. Log in today, get a reward. Log in tomorrow, get another. Miss a day, lose your streak. The anxiety of losing progress keeps you coming back. It's not fun. It's obligation disguised as reward. Real balance means satisfying these same needs out in real life. If you love the achievement in games, find real achievements that matter to you. If you love the control, find areas of your life you can actually control. If you love the community, build real relationships. It's harder, but it's the only path that actually works. Real-world rewards demand far more effort for comparable dopamine payoff. That's the hard truth. You can beat a game in 50 hours, but graduating from college takes 4 years. The ratio is absurd. Your brain naturally chooses the easier path. That's not laziness, that's efficiency. But efficiency isn't the same as fulfillment. Okay, here's the layer I keep avoiding. Balance isn't a feeling I stumble into on a good day. It's a decision to choose the harder, slower, less rewarding option on purpose, every time the easy one is sitting right there in my pocket. I typed it into my notes app right now because I needed to see the actual words. Balance means choosing inefficiency, on purpose, every day. So I made myself sit with it. What am I actually getting when I scroll for 40 minutes before bed? Not the content, not really. It's the escape, the small hit of being somewhere that isn't my actual life. Once I named that, the assignment got specific. Find something in the real world that gives me that exact same escape, not a vague, healthier version of it. For me, the honest answer was escape, so the honest fix has to look like escape too. Not a chore, not another task on a list I already resent. A walk, actual outside, no destination, phone left on the counter on purpose. The first time I tried it, I lasted maybe 6 minutes before I wanted to turn back. I didn't turn back. Here's a pattern interrupt for you. I used to feel proud, actually proud, when I beat a stranger in some game at midnight. That competitive itch is real. It isn't shameful. It had only found the cheapest possible outlet available. So now I put my name down for a Tuesday night league instead. Actual people, actual score, actual sweat. It's terrifying in a way scrolling never was. Okay, that's the easy version of what I've written so far. Here's the actual version. Balance is expensive, and I mean that literally, in time, in discomfort, in the ache of choosing hard when easy is one thumb swipe away. Nobody warns you that the reward for balance shows up late and small, while the reward for staying easy shows up in about 4 seconds. So, here's the actual rule I wrote down. Underlined twice, no phone for the first 4 to 6 hours after I wake up. 4 is ideal, even 1 hour changes something. I used to think that sounded impossible for someone with a job and a group chat and an inbox, and then I found out the excuse was never really about the inbox at all. This is the part that actually made me laugh out loud, alone, at my kitchen table. My excuse was always, I have to check my email first thing. I need to know what's happening at work by 8. Turns out the fix is almost insultingly simple. If 8 o'clock is when you need to know, wake up at 4. Give yourself the 4 hours anyway. The inbox was never the real obstacle, I was. Here's the science part I actually needed to hear, not the guilt part. When I wake up, my dopamine stores are sitting there full, untouched, waiting. Whatever I do in that window gets rewarded harder than it would at any other point in the day. That's not a metaphor, it's chemistry. Which means the 4 hours aren't a punishment I'm assigning myself, they're the one time my brain is actually stacked in my favor. Here's the part I keep avoiding writing down. Every morning I used to burn that whole reserve in the first 90 minutes, phone in hand before my feet even hit the floor. And once it's spent, there's nothing left over to make the walk, the workout, the work feel rewarding later. I wasn't lazy at 4 in the afternoon. I was broke. Dopamine broke, and I didn't know the currency had a name. There's a study I found myself reading twice, mice choosing between 2 food pellets sitting right there for free, or 4 pellets behind a small barrier they'd have to climb for. Mice with normal dopamine climbed for the bigger reward almost every time. Mice with their dopamine depleted stopped climbing. They took the free 2 and stayed there. Reading that at midnight felt like reading my own diagnosis. But here's the part that flips everything. Effort itself, the struggle, is what generates the biggest dopamine hit, not the win by itself. Think about wiping on the same brutal boss fight 200 times and finally landing the last hit. That release is enormous precisely because of the 200 failures before it, which means the hard 4-hour mornings aren't the price of feeling good later, they're already the mechanism. So this is the layer underneath all the other layers. I always thought discipline meant forcing myself to do things I didn't want to do, gritting my teeth through it forever, but that's not actually how the circuitry works. Once you understand it, once you protect that morning window and let the hard thing earn its reward, you stop forcing it. The things you wished you wanted, you actually start wanting. That distinction changes everything. I'm closing the Notes app now, same one from the start of this entry, phone screen dimming in my hand. I don't have the 4 hours figured out yet, but I know the shape of what I'm chasing, and that's new. If you keep opening apps like this to read what someone else is finally admitting, I write these down often, there's more waiting whenever you come back. I haven't put the phone down,